Ms. Severian, Mr. Gay, if you would both activate your audio and video, please. And raise your right hands. Swear that testimony in this case to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Severian, so you indicate in your petition the two of you dated for a brief period of time and you had a health issue, and I believe the implication is that Mr. Gay believed that he received from you a sexually transmitted disease. Am I right in inferring that from the way this is written?
Yes, I had a cold sore, Your Honor. We had a brief one-night intimate relationship. I did not have a cold sore at the time. I was just having a cold. And after we spoke on the phone, we decided it's not going to work out between us to be boyfriend, girlfriend. On December 30th, he saw me in the hallway and saw my lip had a cold sore. And I tried to explain that 9 out of 10 people in the US get cold sores. It's a fever blister. I gave as much education as I could regarding it, but Mr. Gay believed that I've infected him with something comparable to HIV and infected him with an STD. And there was nothing I could say at that point that would help him otherwise. I just asked him to go see his nurse or doctor. He continued to contact me on December 31st. I told him I would let him know if there's anything of concern. And he made a threatening comment. So I called him. I said, what's going on? I just got my tests. I'll let you know. And he said, you need to give me those results tonight. And he started saying, I will ruin your life and does your daughter's dad know? I'll take your business away from you. I'll take your nonprofit away from you. I will make this a legal matter. And I said, look, I'm getting really scared. Please stop. I'm going to stop talking to you now. This is very threatening. And he said, I'm not threatening you. I'm telling you, this is what I will do. At that point, I was right next to the testing center. So I went to talk to the nurses again. And an officer reassured me that it would be okay. I went home and that was on the 31st. And that's when the banging on the door started, close to 5:30. And the incessant calling began. The timeline then went, the pattern of behavior continued. And then on January 2nd, he started again. I stopped communication on the 31st after that phone call, other than telling him on the 2nd or on the 4th to not come to my door anymore. On January 2nd, I was in a back spasm in my house, and he started banging on the door on a Saturday and calling me again on both the interior and exterior doors of my apartment. That's when the officer was called. The officer reached out to him, and he never returned the officer's calls back. After that point, he continued to call me. I had to tell him to stop coming to my door through the text messages. And that's when it went into January 4th when I wrote that message. The protection order was filed on the 7th with you. It was repeated pattern of behavior that's been unwanted. I've told him to stop. He was put on notice by not only me with my first phone call. He was put on notice by the officer. He was put on notice again with the text message to stop coming to my door. He then continued to text me on January 10th. Good morning. I hope this isn't put on the papers because it just came in on January 10th. I hope to get to talk to you first about this. Please call me to help me figure this out. I have some questions. I am in a calm state, so the conversation will not be based on emotions. Your Honor, he continued to use the phone after I asked him to stop. He continued the pounding after he asked him to stop. I have a daughter in my house and I have to parent, and this is becoming alarming to the point where I also would like to ask if you could please reconsider Section 13M, where it reads the restrictive abuse of litigation, because he has not only done the other things, but he's also contacted my daughter's dad, and that Libya's communications about the protected person to third parties and making false reports to investigative agencies. He's also contacted my women's empowerment group, a DV therapist, and made false accusations to her as well. And I need you, that's what's going on. So
Thank you. Mr. Gay,
Hello, Your Honor. Good morning.
good morning. Go ahead.
Thank you. So, one moment here. I'm going to pull up my notes here. Thank you for taking the time to hear this case. I would like the protection order to be dismissed. This incident occurred with emotion involved with the two of us. Avishan was my medical provider since 2023. During that time, she has constantly asked me out on dates, to take her daughter out, to go walks, things like that. She sent a text message right before Christmas stating that she had strong feelings for me. She wanted to see me. She wanted me to come over. I went over. I asked her, was she okay? She had a cold. Do you have any STDs? She said no. After that night, she began coming to my door, leaving roses. And I'm not sure if you received the documents that I sent over this morning. There's photos of her coming to my door, leaving baskets, roses, cards, as well as photos of her and her daughter. So when I saw her on the 30th, yeah, she had a cold sore, and we talked about it. And I was talking the same way I am now. I told her that I was disappointed that my friend would put me in harm's way like that. And she said, well, 9 out of 10 people have it. Don't worry about it. It's none of your concern. And I said, it is my concern. Do you mind getting tested? She said, yeah, I'll get tested and I'll show you the results just to show you that I don't have anything. And I said, that's great. Let's go ahead and stay in communication. So we were talking, but I did let her know during that time, hey, I'm disappointed in you. I feel betrayed. You were somebody that reached out to me when you were going through your situations with your ex-husband, your ex-boyfriend, and I am the most unthreatening person in the world. I might look whatever, but she has fabricated this story because I told her it matters to me. It would be like if you betrayed me by doing that. That would be like, and I gave her an example, like me going and going to the ethics board and letting them know about the patient provider RCW that was in fact, and how you are always in my personal business and coming to my door and calling me and asking me to come over. She would also switch communication styles. She would say, hey, I'm not going to be by my phone. Let's talk in person. Then we would talk in person. Then sometimes she would say, let's not talk in person. Let's talk through text. In regards to the times that I visited her door, which I had visited her door a couple of days prior, saw her aunt because she had asked me to come to her door. So I went to her door. I knocked because I had just got off of work. I work at a financial institution, and I had just got off of work. On my way up to my house, I just knocked to see, hey, do you have the results today? Because she said that they would be coming in around that Thursday, Friday. I said, okay, no answer. I went back in my house and I knocked normal. I didn't bang, knocked 4 or 5 times, like no answer. I left. I called to see if she would answer. She didn't. The following day on Saturday, I was walking my dog and I saw that there were some lights on because she stays in my apartment complex. I knocked downstairs because she has a 2-level apartment. Building. So sometimes she's between levels. And this has happened multiple times before in our history where she'll be downstairs or upstairs and I'll come to speak with her and she doesn't hear because she's on one of the other floors. Same with the phone calls. Sometimes I'll call multiple times and or she'll call multiple times. I'll call multiple times just to reach each other. If you look at some of the text messages, they may be in black and white there, but you'll also see that my texts go from blue to green, and she's talking back and forth with me saying, hey, it's okay. I'm here for you. Reach out if you need anything. Reach out if you need my time. I said, did you block me? She said, no, I didn't block you. Communication was still going on. She had never told me to stop talking to her or to leave her alone. She said, do not come to my door on the 4th. And that was the last time I had ever visited her, last time I will ever visit her. I would like the case to be dismissed because I have no history of any type of domestic violence, berating someone, harassing someone. This was a health scare. Anybody will feel anxious. And I felt anxious, and she reached out to me and said that she would be here for me, talk to me. And I expected that from someone that I befriended, and we went over personal things. Like she told me about an issue that she had with her ex-husband where where she broke into his house and then called the police on him. And I felt like she was doing that to me. So when we were having a conversation, yes, sir. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Ms. Siberian.
Miss Sabiri. Yes. So Miss Sabiri, when we had a conversation, we were speaking on the test results, and I said, this is bad. And I was like, I never had anything. And she said, well, you go get tested. I got tested, and lo and behold, now I'm positive. So I tell her, I'm trying to communicate this with her, like, hey, what can I do? What are things that you do to live with this? But I'm never able to even get in contact with her. She mentions earlier that she called the police on the 4th and they reached out to me, but I didn't answer. But then she says that the police officer told me that when that wasn't the case, what happened was I went to her door, I knocked, she didn't answer, I went about my business. An hour or so later, she texts me and says, hey, please do not come to my door again, which I don't. So when I said to her that I would be letting the ethics board know, she said out of her mouth right then and there, that's domestic violence. And I said, what do you mean? I'm not hitting you. I'm not hurting you. I'm telling you I have the right to report what has happened between the two of us. And then she said, that's domestic violence. And I said, no, you're not going to do the same thing that you have done to others. She has history. So with that, I called the police to report my issue with her. And I told them, hey, there's a lady in my building. She was my medical provider. She told me that, hey, I don't have anything. So I went into a one-night stand with her, believing that she had nothing, kissed. And then that's where everything kind of blew up. I was contacting her to get test results because she said that she would provide them. And there are text messages that show that all throughout the 30th as well as the 31st. She's in complete contact with me, and not once has she ever said, hey, do not call me, do not text me by phone, by in person or anything. The only warning or resistance I got was on the 4th when she said, please do not come to my door again. And I obeyed. And I would like to say this for the court. Again, I don't want to see her. She's already ruined my trust in her friendship in the way that I trust a provider. She was my doctor at one point. She, even that current week, she was inviting me out to dinner. She even asked me to live with her. I have the text messages for that. She's constantly sending me photos of her and her daughter. So I felt like I was wrong. And the fact that she is trying to pull this fast one now to stop me from going to the board has made me realize the person that she was. I was going to go to the board if I tested positive anyway, and I told her that if I test positive, I have to let the people know what is going on. So I did reach out to the ethics board for I forgot what it's called, but I did reach out to the ethics board and I did claim, hey, I had a improper relationship with a provider. She was my provider. And while she was my provider, we have hung out, drank, smoked. She has invited me out on dates, tried to take me out, asked me about MDMA, asking me about all sorts of things. We had that type of relationship. And because she did she lied to me and ruined the trust. I felt like that is something that Washington State Board should know. And that's all I was getting at. And my last point was, if you read the text, look at the context of the text. I'm asking, hey, listen, I thought you were my friend. You said that you were going to tell me. You said you were going to talk to me. You said through text, I'm here for you. Reach out. She's even asking open-ended questions on the 31st. Hey, do you have a cold sore? What can I help you with? So at that point, I'm like, hey, let me call her. And if you see the calls minus Saturday, because that was the day that I was off, I had more time. They're rounds of two phone calls in a row, and then I wait maybe about a couple hours later. Maybe she's busy because she is a provider, and I call her back. No answer. I leave her alone. I'm not calling at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, waking her up. I'm not banging on her door like she states. I visited her residence twice and twice only. And when she says do not come, I did not show up again. She has lost all my respect. I don't want to know her. If I see her, I would walk across the street. But I live in the same building as her, the same building that she wants me to move in with her. And I have a dog, so I walk around the street. But even if I see her, I never want to see her again. She's a despicable person, and now I know that she lies.
Okay, thank you.
And one of the reasons why I don't want this to continue and I want this to be dismissed, Your Honor, is because I am a well-respected individual in my community. I volunteer at the Olympia Football School, high school, our art community, working with homeless advocacy groups, farmers, insurance, credit union as well. And those places, obviously, we do background checks. And I have never had a stain on my record. I am a military veteran, and I've been out here for 21 years. And I've never, ever had an issue with any individual. I'm very straightforward. The way that I'm talking to you now, Your Honor, is the same way that I was talking to her when I spoke to her. Now, I may have a little oomph in my voice, but I'm not threatening. I never threatened harm. I never said, I'm going to get you. I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to do anything. What she's afraid of is that I will tell her secrets. But the only thing that I was going to say was, we had an improper relationship. I wasn't going to go into detail about all of the other things. That's what she's afraid of.
Thank you.
And I'm still not. I will still keep my word, but we did have an improper relationship, and that is against the RCW for patient-provider relationship.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may I respond? I can't hear you, Your Honor.
I'll get back to you in a moment.
Thank you.
Mr. Gay, you'd indicated to me that you have tested positive for a sexually transmitted disease. Is that correct?
Yes, the exact one that she told me not to worry about. And that was through the VA. And the reason why,
Right.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Yes,
Answer
sir.
the question.
Yes, sir, I
Okay.
did.
Yeah, but you don't need to elaborate. Just answer the question.
Yes, sir.
Did you test or get the test result? When did you get the test result?
I got the test result the following Tuesday. That would have been, if you don't mind, I'm on my phone at work. So give me 1 second. I'm going to look at the calendar. That was the 7th.
Did you mute?
And those for the,
Did you go test?
I went to go test with the VA.
Yeah,
And the
when?
VA, when? I went to go test, 1 second. I went to test on the 3rd. And she went to go test on the 1st. And she was going to let me know that Thursday, Friday. She said that we would talk and reconvene.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Siberian, go ahead.
Hello, Your Honor. I'd like to say what Mr. Gay is saying regarding the practitioner provider relationships irrelevant. That is
You need to go into that.
okay, thank you. I'd like to also say if you could please strike the hearsay, I'd appreciate that. On RCW 7.105.010, Section 6A, the course of conduct, he has been told clearly on December 31st via phone when I talked to him that I'm scared and threatened and please stop calling me. I also told him again, given him clear notice with the police on January 2nd. After the phone call that I made personally, the police called him. He never called the police back. The alarm and annoyance and harassment he's given me and is interrupting my ability to parent my child, and it's becoming very alarming and intimidating to me. I have decided to not go down the hallways or the stairwell on one side of the building, and I just go out my street door on 4th Avenue to make sure that there's peace in the building and we don't cross paths. It has become a little hostile living environment, and there's a lot of intimidation here. I would like to be protected, please.
Your Honor.
So, Ms. Siberian, as best I can reconstruct these screenshots of the texts, it appears that you were essentially engaged in a conversation with Mr. Gay via the texts regarding his concerns through the end of the year. The first time I see something in text that says to stop is on the 4th of January at 11:28. And I know you told me that you said something to him on the phone. I believe you said on the 31st. Is that accurate?
Yeah, the 31st, Your Honor, is when I went to go get my results and tested. And that's when he started the threat verbally on the phone with me on the 31st. And I had a friend over here in the evening of the 31st who witnessed the banging on the door for half an hour. And we went downstairs. And I had a friend here sit with me while Mr. Gay banged on my door for half an hour. He has been given 3 forms of notice. First, the phone call from me on the 31st. And if you can see, I don't communicate with him. After the 31st, I stop all communication except on January 4th when I tell him, please stop banging and coming over here. That's directed by the police that I needed to do that.
And looks like he responded to your text. Did he ever come back over after you said that to him?
After he pounded on the door, you pull over. On January 4th, he continued to call my phone, and he came and pounded on the 2nd, but he did not physically come to the door. But he did continue to harass me via text after I told him not to contact me, and did reach out and do things that are make my life much more intimidated to me, intimidation to me.
Thank you. Mr. Gay, you wanted to say something else?
Yes, Your Honor. On the 30th and 31st, there is clear back and forth communication. She does not contact me to tell me to stop coming to her door or to stop talking to her on the 2nd at all. The police were called, or the reports were made on the 4th. That was the last day I have visited her. Her apartment or her place. That was the last time I went to go see her. Weeks prior to that, she had told me that she was going through a mental issue, reason why she cut her hair off. So I was also concerned about my friend too. There was a lot going on at the time. I wanted to save my friendship. That's why I kept talking to her and I kept saying, hey, you're my friend. What happened? That's the part that hurts the most. You can see that through the text. There was no three forms of communication by her stating that she wanted me to stop. There was only one. And even on the 30th or the 31st, she even asked to see me. So things are very unclear there. Texts are going from green to blue. I'm not sure if I'm blocked. I have no idea what is going on. So one moment she wants to talk, the next minute she doesn't. I had no idea. She has nothing to worry about with me. I don't even want to be around her. And I feel like she's just using this as a power play because of what I said to her, because she knows that she could be in trouble. We've had conversations because she knows I'm in the finance industry. She tried to move $75,000, tried to launder it and hide it. And she knows that I know all of these little secrets that she's trying to stop. And she was going through something. Again, I hate to bring up some circumstantial rhetoric or statements, but I can go back and we can go back prior into December where she's asking and telling me, hey, I'm scared because she had nowhere to live. She told our property manager at the Views on Fifth apartment building that she needed to get out of her lease because she was having a mental breakdown. And then she was going to move to Whidbey Island. All of these things were factors.
Okay, don't talk over me.
Yes,
That's enough to keep you talking only about things that I find to be relevant. So we
Yes,
don't need to go
yes, sir. But what I did do was
laundry that you believe you would like to air. So we don't need to do that.
I just want the whole truth to be out there, Your Honor. After she said to not show up, I didn't.
I'm going to stop you. I don't want to have to mute you.
Yes,
So
sir.
at this point, all you're doing is answering my questions, please. I mean, honestly, I'm finding a little bit of what Ms. Siberian is indicating, where you're a tough one to get to stop. I've tried to stop you a couple times, and you keep sort of running by my stop sign there. So it's just so you understand, I'm perceiving some of the same things that she perceives.
You're being hacked. Please shut the meeting.
Sorry about that.
What was that? Sorry.
I am going to grant Ms. Siberian's request for an order based on clearly the insistence on Mr. Gay to have communication with her when it appeared that Ms. Siberian did not want to have such communication. I understand Mr. Gay's frustration about his concern about Ms. Siberian potentially having been the source of the transmission of a sexually transmitted disease, but you can't force somebody to engage in a conversation with you if they don't want to. And Mr. Gay, you went beyond expressing your concern. You attempted to force her into this conversation, and kept your text response made that clear that you weren't going to stop until she spoke with you. You don't have the right to do that to somebody else. I get the frustration. I get that you want that to happen, but you can't force somebody to speak to you if they don't want to. So I will grant the order. You're to have no contact with Ms. Siberian or her child. You're not to go within 10 feet of her. Or her apartment. I recognize two of you live in the same complex. That's why I've greatly limited the distance restriction. I will say it doesn't restrict you in any way in your ability to make any complaints about Ms. Siberian to whatever medical board that you feel obligated to make that complaint to. That's up to the board to decide whether they're going to take any action based on that. But as to the relationship you have with Ms. Siberian, you may not have any contact with her. You may not go within 10 feet of her, her child, or her residence. And Ms. Siberian, this order will be in effect for 1 year from today's date. If you want it renewed, you'll have to come back to court at that time and ask for it to be renewed. Okay, Ms. Siberian, your question.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Did you have a question?
I was just curious about the section 13M, but as you decide, I'd like to have on that, but however you like.
Not finding a basis for that.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Gay, did you have anything else?
Yes, sir. With this protection order, what am I being charged with what is this? Again, I'm unfamiliar with any of this.
It's called a harassment protection order. It's not a conviction of any sort. It's just that the court is entering a protection order on behalf of Ms. Siberian. And it's effect for 1 year. After 1 year, then it will not be there. All right. It will be in the civil file for each of you if you want to access that order. It's under the terms that I've just spoken about. Thank you both very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.